My name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2. I seen the third episode of Inhumans tonight. Totally gotta go catch the first 2 episodes. I have no idea what the fuck's going on. But I am very impressed with what I saw. So now let me give you a quick critique. For all you people who are out here saying Inhumans suck as a show, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I say on every other comic book show. If you are a comic book fan of these shows, the shows probably aren't for you. Unless you're going to do like me and watch it with an open mind and stay away from your comic book lore, because your comic book lore will pretty much ruin every comic book show for you. I've said this about Gotham. I've said this about Supergirl and the Flash, but not so much because they're like actually pretty close to being on point. I said this about Arrow, and I only came in the second season, but I realized that Arrow is basically living Batman's life while Jim Gordon is basically living Batman's life, and you can't have two Batman shows on at the same time. But everything that Oliver Queen's doing, I don't recall him doing in a comic book. So there you go. And then I've said this about The Gifted. I've said this about Legion. I've said this about every other TV show that's on cable TV that has something to do with a comic book. If you are a comic book fan, you can't watch these shows because you start like trying to put shit together and it's not the same. It's adapted for TV. Now if Marvel really wanted to do something, Fox, I hope you're listening. Why didn't you guys bring back Generation X? That's what you should have done. Yeah, I know the comic's been canceled for almost 20 years, but why didn't you bring back Generation X? And in Generation X, why was Jubilee white instead of Asian? Just saying, you know. So if you're gonna bring another series back, Marvel, if you're listening, Fox, if you're listening, since Generation X belongs to the Fox channel or the Fox network, because everything X-Men they pretty much own Fox, not Marvel, but Fox. Why don't you make some Generation X movies with Jubilee? Why don't you make an X-Force movie with Cable? Why don't you make an Excalibur movie with Captain Britain? Yeah, all these ring the bell. Maybe some New Mutants. Maybe X Factor. Maybe X Terminators. Like, I'm a comic book connoisseur, and I love the X-Men. Not really happy at what you and Marvel are having y'all little rivalry, since Disney basically owns Marvel and you guys only have the rights to the X-Men and stuff. So why don't you guys maybe collaborate? You know? But I know why, because I know if Marvel ever gets hold of the X-Men again, it's gonna probably like stomp the yard. So you guys are in a pretty good bidding war, and that's fine. Now, I'm just saying, if you guys are gonna do a series, one, this is why I'm saying this, because I've said this about the Inhumans, I said this about Gifted, I'm going to say it every time a TV show comes out, and I've also said this about Legion. If you're going to make it, I know you have to adapt it for TV, but why can't you still keep the storylines of the 616 or whatever and make everything like it's supposed to be? I mean, you're adapting it for TV, I get that, but at the same point with Legion, he doesn't get to see that he's Professor Xavier's son. His mom doesn't remember who the hell Xavier is. Really? Xavier has never wiped the minds of the women that he slept with, because if that was the case, Mara McTaggart would have never fucking said shit to him. And then he has at least 3 illegitimate kids, all right? Because Xavier has never been married. Him and Lilandra have not had any children, and if they have, I'm new to the game. But for Earth, Legion is his primary child that he knows about. But as far as I know, he has 3 illegitimate kids, Legion being one, and I forgot the other 2. And then when the cartoon came on G4, he had a Japanese son. So I'm like, okay, something is not going on here. But by then I had stopped reading comics, but I know when I was reading them that he had at least 3 illegitimate children. And not that being illegitimate is something wrong with that. It's just the fact that he had 3 illegitimate children. And Xavier's got deep pockets. So it's not like he can't provide for his children plus the X-Men. He was technically one of the richest people in the Marvel Universe. He's actually richer than Tony Stark. And the government funds his schooling, but they don't know that his school was a school for mutants. Or do they? Hard to say. But anyway, I'm going to close out on this video by saying if you are a comic fan, you can now watch these shows with your knowledge of comic books. So check your feelings at the door and enjoy the shows because they're fucking awesome. All of them. The Marvel shows, the DC shows, all of them are awesome. Just watch them as TV shows. Check your comic book feelings at the door. And thank you for coming. Sit back, relax, enjoy the fucking show. I'm James William Shee. This is Come Forever number 2, and I've got to go. Be seeing you.